Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest battlefield you will ever face is not in the world around you, but in the space between your ears. The most powerful tool at your disposal is not your money, not your status, not your connections, but your mind. And yet, most people walk through life with their minds untrained, undisciplined, and unfocused, like a wild stallion galloping in every direction except the one that leads to victory. But today, I tell you, if you build a mind so strong, so definite, so focused in its purpose, you will terrify the world, not through aggression, but through the sheer force of your conviction. A strong mind does not begin with brilliance. It begins with belief. A man who believes in himself, who believes in the justice of his cause, and who acts on that belief with unwavering persistence. He is unstoppable. His eyes do not flicker in doubt, his words do not falter, and his decisions are not diluted by the opinions of the crowd. He does not ask for permission to think, nor does he seek validation to dream. He simply decides, and once he decides, the universe begins to shift in response. The world respects those who walk with certainty. Not arrogance, but certainty. The kind of certainty that comes from knowing who you are and where you're going. It is not given, it is forged. It is built in silence, in solitude, in the daily grind of disciplined thought. You must command your mind to obey your will. You must train it like a warrior trains his sword, daily, with precision, with patience. A weak mind is a slave to circumstances. A strong mind bends circumstances to its will. You must learn to think accurately. Emotions are a part of life, but they must never become the ruler of your decisions. Control your thoughts, and you will control your actions. Control your actions, and you will control your destiny. When doubt whispers, you respond with faith. When fear lurks, you strike with courage. When the world says impossible, your mind must answer, watch me. The man who can dominate his thoughts can dominate his world. And let me tell you this, most people will never understand you. They will be intimidated by your focus, unsettled by your clarity, and threatened by your resolve. That's the price of strength. When your mind becomes immovable, your mere presence will shake the room. Not because you seek to impose power, but because people sense they are in the presence of someone who cannot be shaken. You will find, as your mind sharpens, that the noise of the world no longer pulls you in. The gossip, the distractions, the trivial pursuits of the mediocre, they lose their appeal. You become consumed with purpose. Every day becomes an opportunity to test your resolve, to refine your vision, to act in alignment with your higher aim. And in this pursuit you gain a power that few will ever possess, the power of self-mastery. But make no mistake, this journey is not easy. You will be tested. You will be ridiculed. There will be days when the temptation to compromise will whisper sweet lies in your ear. But a strong mind does not compromise with weakness. It does not negotiate with fear. It recognizes the voice of defeat and silences it. Again and again, build discipline like a wall, brick by brick. Build focus like a blade, sharpened daily. Build faith like a mountain, unmoved by the winds of failure. This is how legends are made, not by chance, not by talent alone, but by the iron, willed decision to take full command of the mind every moment, every day. So train your mind when no one is watching. Speak to yourself with courage, feed it with truth, challenge it with purpose, and when the world finally sees the results, they will call you lucky. They will call you gifted. They will call you anything but what you truly are. A man who chose to build a mind so powerful, it needed no permission to succeed. A mind so strong, it terrified the world into respect. The man who masters his mind becomes master of his fate. Not because fate bends easily, but because the mind, once harnessed, becomes an unstoppable engine. It creates where others wait. It solves where others stall. It builds when others doubt. Such a mind sees obstacles not as signals to retreat, but as invitations to rise. While the average man curses adversity, the strong-minded man welcomes it, for he knows that within each trial lies the raw material for greatness. You must understand that most people drift. They wake up each day governed by habit, pulled by distraction, and numbed by repetition. They think what others think, do what others do, and expect their lives to somehow change, But the man with a strong mind is not moved by the tide of the majority. He moves by conscious thought, by definite decision. He does not drift, he sails, and even when the winds are against him, he adjusts his sails and continues forward. Such a mind is built in silence. While others scroll, he studies. While others waste, he invests. While others react, he plans. He understands that attention is the currency of the mind. Whatever you feed it, it becomes. Feed it fear, and it becomes timid. Feed it distraction, and it becomes scattered. Feed it discipline, and it becomes sharp. Feed it vision, and it becomes powerful. So be ruthless with what enters your mind. Guard it like a fortress. Let no thought in that does not serve your higher aim. You will notice something powerful happen when your mind begins to strengthen. Your words will change. You will stop speaking like a victim. You will stop blaming, complaining, waiting. You will begin to speak from a place of intention, of purpose. Every sentence will carry weight, because every word will come from clarity. People will listen, not because you demand attention, but because you command it by the force of your conviction, and yet this strength is not loud. The truly strong are not those who boast, but those who walk with quiet fire. You don't need to shout your goals from the rooftops. Let your results echo louder than your words ever could. Let your actions speak for your beliefs. Let your discipline be the loudest message you send into the world. The strong mind is humble, not because it lacks power, but because it has no need to flaunt it. It knows its worth. Understand this too. Pain is part of the process. The reshaping of your mind will not come without struggle. You will have to battle old patterns, face buried fears, endure rejection, and persist through fatigue. You will have to say no when it's easier to say yes. You will have to stay the course when everything in you wants to give in. But each time you resist the comfort of the familiar, your mind grows sharper. Each time you endure what others avoid, your spirit becomes tougher. Pain, when faced with courage, becomes a sculptor. It carves away weakness until only strength remains. The man with a strong mind does not run from failure. He uses it, he studies it, he builds from it. Failure is not the enemy, it is the furnace. It tempers resolve, it reveals commitment, and it purifies desire. The mind that fears failure will always live in the shadows, but the mind that confronts it, learns from it, and rises despite it. This mind becomes a force to be reckoned with. You will learn to rely on yourself, not in isolation, but in self-leadership. You will stop looking for someone to rescue you, or to grant you permission. You will become the author of your own path. That's when fear loses its grip. That's when the opinions of the crowd lose their sting. That's when you look in the mirror and see someone you respect, someone you trust, someone you would follow into battle. And as your mind grows in power, something else happens. You begin to lift others, not by lecture, but by example. Your presence becomes a reminder that greatness is possible. Your discipline becomes an inspiration. Your focus becomes a challenge. The strong mind does not seek applause. It builds legacies. It leaves behind a trail of action, courage, and impact, and in doing so, it changes the world one decision at a time. So you must decide, here and now, what kind of mind you will build. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Every thought is a brick, every decision a beam, every action a pillar. You are either constructing a temple of power or a prison of limitation. The choice is always yours, but remember this: those who build strong minds, who live with purpose, who lead themselves before they lead others, they do not go unnoticed. Their strength speaks volumes. It causes the world to stop, to pay attention, to wonder. Asterisk, how does he do it? Asterisk, and in truth there is no secret. There is only decision, discipline, direction. There is only the choice, made again and again, to rise above mediocrity, to think with clarity, to act with courage, and to walk with unwavering faith in the power of the mind. That is how you build a mind so strong it terrifies people, not through fear, but through the undeniable force of purpose lived out loud. When the mind becomes fortified by purpose, it ceases to negotiate with weakness. It no longer entertains thoughts of retreat or surrender. It does not pause to question whether it is worthy of the goal. It proceeds as though the outcome were already written, because in a way it is. A strong mind lives in the future while acting in the present. It sees the result before the world does. It holds the vision so firmly that even reality begins to adjust itself to match. You must be willing to do what others will not. Not once, not twice, but consistently, until your identity transforms into someone who no longer needs external motivation. The truly powerful mind doesn't wait for a mood or a perfect moment. It acts because it has trained itself to. It acts because the mission demands it. The idea of convenience does not exist in the mind of the uncommon man. He moves regardless of weather, regardless of approval, regardless of outcome. Why? Because he is not controlled by emotion. He is governed by principle. That is terrifying to the world because most people are led by emotion. They wait to feel ready, to feel inspired, to feel supported. The man with the iron mind waits for nothing. He acts, and from his action, power flows. Others speak of goals, but he moves toward them with terrifying calm. While they look for shortcuts, he builds character. While they crave comfort, he demands growth. And in the end, the world cannot ignore the results of such a man. You must learn to be still. The mind gains strength not just in movement, but in stillness. In silence, you hear your own voice. In solitude, you discover what you truly believe. In isolation, the mind becomes razor, sharp, focused not on noise but on essence. So take time away from the distractions. Step out of the echo chamber of opinion. There is no wisdom in the crowd. The strong mind develops in the forge of deliberate thought, unclouded by approval, untouched by the trivial. There will be voices, inside and out, telling you to slow down, to be realistic, to follow the beaten path. But realism is the language of the defeated. Those who speak it have already abandoned the edge of possibility. You are not built to blend in. You are not meant to conform to mediocrity. Your mind is the birthplace of everything you desire, and if you do not take full ownership of it, someone else will, and they will use it, not to build your dream, but theirs. Be careful who you allow to speak into your life. A strong mind is not only self-disciplined, but also selective. Selective with time, with influence, with energy. The weak mind opens itself to everyone, seeking validation, approval, company. But the strong mind stands alone if it must. It speaks less and listens more, not to others, but to its own inner compass. It studies quietly, it works relentlessly, and it grows invisibly. By the time the world sees it, it is too late to stop it. Many will misunderstand you. They will call you obsessed. They will label you arrogant, cold, even dangerous. That is the price of clarity. Those who live without it will always attack those who have it. But clarity is not arrogance, focus is not hostility. You do not owe the world an explanation for your drive. You owe yourself the fulfillment of your potential. Let them judge, let them whisper. You are not here to be liked. You are here to rise. Every day you must affirm to yourself, I am in control. Say it until your doubts begin to tremble. Say it until your body moves without hesitation. Say it until your subconscious accepts it as fact. The most powerful minds are not born. They are forged in fire, fire of failure, of discipline, of long nights and early mornings. You will be tempted to quit. That is the test. You will be told it's too much. That is the test. You will wonder if it's worth it. That too is the test. And the answer must always be yes. Yes, it is worth it to live with discipline. Yes, it is worth it to walk a path few dare to follow. Yes, it is worth it to build a mind that does not break when others bend. For in that strength you unlock a life few will ever taste. The life of the uncommon man, the life of the free man, the life of the one who commands his thoughts, commands his actions, and commands his fate. You do not have to move fast, but you must move forward. Even an inch gained with discipline is worth more than miles traveled without aim. Progress is not loud. It is persistent, and each step you take strengthens the wiring of your mind. The habits become deeper, the thoughts become cleaner, the distractions fall away. You begin to feel the power of living on purpose. It's not a feeling that others can give you. It's one you earn, and once you taste it, you will never return to the life of hesitation. So you rise early, even when no one claps for you. You push harder, even when no one is watching. You prepare even when there is no immediate reward, because you know the mind you are building is the foundation of everything that will follow. Business, relationships, wealth, peace, power, it all begins in the mind, and if you build it right, if you build it strong, nothing and no one can take from you what you have built within. The moment your mind accepts no excuses, the world begins to shift. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and begin creating them. You stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start declaring, "I will not quit." That switch from question to command is where strength is born. Weak minds chase comfort, strong minds chase challenge, and in doing so they become the type of men others look at in awe, not because of what they own or display, but because of what they've endured and overcome. And here's the truth: strength is not in never feeling fear. Strength is in acting in spite of it. You will feel doubt, you will feel fatigue, but the disciplined mind observes those feelings without bowing to them. It recognizes fear as a signal, not to stop, but to sharpen. When most retreat, you must advance. When most complain, you must commit. And when most break down, you must break through. You don't need to explain yourself to the world. You only need to prove yourself to the man in the mirror. Every single day you must ask, "Did I master myself today? Did I hold the line when it got hard? Did I keep my vision alive when the world tried to bury it?" That's the mark of a strong mind. That's the kind of strength that cannot be faked, cannot be borrowed, cannot be bought. It must be earned, through grit, through grind, through relentless mental war. And once earned, it becomes your shield, your sword, and your signature, the kind of mind that moves nations, and terrifies anything that tries to stand in its way. The moment your mind accepts no excuses, the world begins to shift. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and begin creating them. You stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start declaring, "I will not quit." That switch, from question to command, is where strength is born. Weak minds chase comfort, strong minds chase challenge, and in doing so, they become the type of men others look at in awe, not because of what they own or display, but because of what they've endured and overcome. And here's the truth: strength is not in never feeling fear. Strength is in acting in spite of it. You will feel doubt, you will feel fatigue, but the disciplined mind observes those feelings without bowing to them. It recognizes fear as a signal, not to stop, but to sharpen. When most retreat, you must advance. When most complain, you must commit. And when most break down, you must break through. You don't need to explain yourself to the world. You only need to prove yourself to the man in the mirror. Every single day you must ask, "Did I master myself today? Did I hold the line when it got hard? Did I keep my vision alive when the world tried to bury it?" That's the mark of a strong mind. That's the kind of strength that cannot be faked, cannot be borrowed, cannot be bought. It must be earned, through grit, through grind, through relentless mental war. And once earned, it becomes your shield, your sword, and your signature, the kind of mind that moves nations, and terrifies anything that tries to stand in its way. So I leave you with this: the mind is your greatest weapon, and you are its only master. Build it with intention, discipline it with fire, guard it with everything you have. Let it be so strong, so focused, so unshakable, that it commands respect without a word spoken. Let your life be the proof of its power. And when the world watches you rise, let them wonder how you did it, never knowing that it all began the moment you decided to take full control of your mind,